the biggest thing I've noticed with him since the World Cup, I think, really, is his defensive tracking back and the way he gets back for the team, the way he helps out the side. I mean, Salah was through today. He's the last man there, winning a tackle. 2 minutes later, he's up the other end, creating a goal for him. I've not seen that before with him.
No, what was interesting, quite often, if there was a substitution, do you remember early days?
Yeah.
He was going to get substituted, he looked really disheartened.
Yeah.
And they'd bring Phil on. And then you'd see Phil defending like a maniac. And then sometimes if Phil was on, Jack had come on. And you didn't see the same. And it's like the light bulb's gone off in his head.
I think as well, Mike, what he's doing as well is, like you says, is the right decisions. Today, for the assist for Alvarez, probably in previous games before the World Cup, he might have took a touchdown, tried to take the player on. He knows when to pass it. He knows when to take a player on. I still want him to be, I don't know, when he cuts inside, take more shots. There was a chance today where he cut inside and he passed it to De Bruyne. I'm thinking, you can have a shot there. So he can still improve, but today he was outstanding, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a great save, actually.
Yeah.
Shot by Alisson. But,
Mike, can you win the league? Can you catch Arsenal? Because, they keep grinding out results. Yeah. Fair play to Arsenal this season. They've been superb. Can you catch them?
Yes. Dependent on Arsenal, I think. I think we're getting into our stride. And I think the biggest thing about today to take note is we didn't have Erling Haaland and we didn't have Phil Foden.
Yep.
So it was a little bit like almost. I know we had Alvarez as centre forward, but he wasn't playing like a Haaland centre forward.
No,
he was playing like the false nine when we didn't have Haaland.
Were you surprised at how bad Liverpool were in the second half, Mike? Like you two teams competed for the last 4 or 5 seasons, right? You were a cut above everyone else. Now it's like they're a shadow of the team that they were.
I think they were overwhelmed by the excellence of our movement and passing and quality. And Ederson does my head in, our goalie, sometimes. But he lets them in and he sometimes takes too long. But today, you could see how his masterclass of passing gave City an extra man. Some of the passing we did was just, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And every goal we scored today was a Pep goal, wasn't it? It was like how to score goals the Pep way.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was just like an extra energy and an extra relief. The nice thing about City these days is when we went 1-0 down, nobody thinks, now we're going to lose. Everyone's like, oh, okay. Keep trusting it. But to answer about Arsenal, I think they're doing absolutely awesome. I mean, I hope they slip up. If they don't slip up, then they'll have deserved to win the league, won't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Credit where it's true. They're going to deserve it. I think if they do win it, that's for sure. But Mike, what last question for you? A few people obviously talk about Haaland when he doesn't play and the goals he scores and the way actually Man City play. Do you think sometimes Man City play better when he doesn't?
Yes and no. The yes would be I think you're seeing Jack last season, Haaland this season, and despite the fact that he's not fully on board yet, he's still scored 8 million goals. And I think next year, if the Daily Mail don't sell him, because they try and sell him every single day, I think that next year, you're going to see an even more awesome Haaland.
Yeah.
I think that they definitely... There's a lot of times where we can see Erling Haaland making the runs. And we're going, pass, and Kevin is now finding him. What's the name? Mahrez is starting to find him.
Yeah.
But I think if he starts getting the proper service, I think you'll see him score double what he's done this year.
All right, Mike, I really appreciate your call. Let's go to James, who's a Liverpool fan. All right, James?
Good evening, James.
Hey, chaps, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. How are you? How did you feel about the result today, the performance?
disheartening to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Trent's defending. It's not ideal, but let's be fair. It's no worse than what it was over the last 3 or 4 years when we won the league, we won the Champions League, but all of a sudden everyone's got a problem with it.
What's changed then? Players taking him on more?
No, well, I think naturally there's probably more traffic going down that side, so there's going to be more options coming up for the teams. I think it's disproportionate the amount of stick he gets versus everybody else in the team. Like, I heard anybody mention Robertson's error to the first goal after a minute at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
Which was the start of the downfall for the team today.
Fabinho's been poor, hasn't he?
He dived in for the first goal as well, Man City, and you could see Jurgen Klopp on the sidelines going mad at Robertson. You kept getting sucked in, and he just played round him.
I think the thing with Klopp's teams, you saw it at Dortmund, and we've seen it here. It is like an engine. If every single part in that engine or that machine is not working or not calibrated to what it needs to be, then the whole thing doesn't work.
I think as well, if you look before the game, I'm sure Liverpool fans looked and saw the team sheet and saw Fabinho, Henderson and Elliott. I bet you knew you was in trouble, didn't you, with the midfield that Man City have got?
The problem we've got, our midfield's been propped up with 2 19-year-olds for most of the season. So everyone knows the midfield's not where it needs to be.
Yep.
Trent, I think he's a scapegoat for most people. Like, no one's got a problem when he's pinging in 15 assists and 8 goals a season for the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, what's the guy, 23, and he's almost got the most assists for a defender in the Premier League? It's not his fault. It's the team around him. Van Dijk's got a new centre-back partner every other game week.
Well, Van Dijk's been poor this season as well, though, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, because he's having to defend for his other centre-half.
James.
He's having to defend for Trent, and he's not been the same player since he did his ACL.
No. James, I wanted to ask you a question as a Liverpool fan. What did you make of when Man City scored and Pep was celebrating in front of the Liverpool subs? I think Arthur put his hand out, didn't he, and shaked his hand. What do you think of that?
Arthur put him out to defuse the situation, because in 2 things, Pep would be the first person to cry if Klopp was doing that to his team. He'd be going mad, sticking 2 fingers up in the air, screaming at the 4th official like he does, in front of about their 10 fans that they get every week. And then
it was poor from Arthur, though. Some Liverpool fans going to be fuming out there. You know, you don't go. They've just scored and you're shaking his hand.
Whoever's decided to bring Arthur over here, what we're basically doing is we're getting him fit for Juventus to sell him for 30 million to sort their financial situation out this summer. Absolutely dreadful decision.
So James, are you Klopp in or Klopp out?
Yeah, massive. If you can't support us in the bad times, you don't deserve to support us in the good times. Now, everybody, put it this way, if Klopp is on the market tomorrow and any top team in Europe had a vacancy, he'd be the first one on anybody's list.
What about Nagelsmann? Would you have him, though, if he come available and you were like,
no.
well, he is available?
Why would have somebody who's probably been a manager for 3 or 4 years, been sacked at BeIN, like the Liverpool gig?
But you're 30 points behind Arsenal, mate. Like, that's a sackable offence for me.
We were 40 points ahead of them a few years ago, weren't we?
Yeah, but you're looking back. Look at now. You're 30 points behind Arsenal. Let that sink in.
I let the old bathroom in at this rate. Look,
let that sink in.
Seriously.
Villa are a point behind you if they win tonight.
Yeah, well,
get out of our way as well. We need to overtake you. All right.
James, I really appreciate your call. I want to go to William, who's a Liverpool fan. All right, William.
Good evening, William.
Good evening, Gabby. Good evening, Jimmy. What's happening?
Yeah, good, mate. Look, a shocker result today. Poor form from Liverpool out there, especially in the second half. Who's to blame for these results?
Right. I've been listening, obviously, to the calls, Jimmy, right? Now, the last caller said, making Trent a scapegoat, right? Not trying to make anyone a scapegoat, but let's look at facts, right?
Yep.
See, I know they're getting beat 3-1, but Gabby, you're a pro. Jimmy, you're a pro. Your attitude changes, right? See that 4th goal? Jack Grealish runs towards him with the ball, right? Passes it down the line and runs past him, right? I don't care what level of football you're playing. That is an absolute disgrace. He lets him run past him. That is basic.
Yeah, it's your man, don't you? It's your man. Like, you can't let him go that easy.
Do you think he's got lazy in his mind?
Yes. just pure laziness. I mean, see if I was his manager in the change room, I would be going through him for a shortcut.
But can I say, William, can I say though that right before that, about a minute, 2 minutes before that, Trent chased 3 players, sprinted after them. No one else Liverpool team went with him, which you don't do, you know. You don't go out of position to... And Jurgen Klopp was throwing his arms up at him. He gets back in position. Maybe he was I can't say it. Maybe he was tired from that doggies that he'd done up and down the pitch. I don't know.
I know, but Gabby, if that is a possible reason, right? But Gabby, see, to be fair, even the first goal, right? Now, I need to watch it all back because I didn't. BT Sport was on today, so I wasn't pausing it. Can you pause a BT Sport like Sky anyway? So I need to watch it all back today.
Depends what you were watching it on.
It was BT Sport. BT Sport. So here, see when that first.
Put them dodgy boxes, William. Out,
No.
You sure?
You just dropped yourself in it, mate.